In lesson 3.5, we're going to talk about constructing parallel lines. Remember, parallel lines are lines in the same plane that do not intersect. For example, at the top left here, we have an example of parallel lines. Usually, you'll see an indication in a picture that the lines are parallel because we'll put these little arrows on them showing that they are. On the top right here, we see that these two lines are intersecting in our vision. You can see the intersection place of those two. But down below, even though we see in the third picture that the two lines are not currently intersecting, we can visually see that eventually they will intersect, and so they are not parallel. So out of the three pictures, only the red top left picture has parallel lines. So we're going to figure out how to make a pair of parallel lines. First of all, in step one, there'll be a line and a point. So step one, you'll see this line, and there is a point. In step two, we're going to put our compass point on point P and stretch the compass past the line and draw an arc. It'll look something like the following in light blue. So we had the original line in red, and now in light blue we have put our compass point on point P, stretched the compass past the line, and drawn an arc. So step one, if you recall, was the line was there. Step two, we had placed our point of the compass on P, drawn an arc. And now in step three, what we're going to do is from the two arced spots, we're going to take our compass point, put them on those intersections, and leave the compass stretched the same amount. You can change it if you want to, but you don't need to for these arcs. And we're going to make two of them, one from each intersection. So from the left intersecting point in orange, I draw an arc out in space. I move my compass point without changing the stretch to the other intersection place my point there, and then make an arc again. And so now we have our original line in red. We have our arc mark in light blue, and we've stretched out our compass from either point and made arcs. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect point P to the intersection of those two arcs in dark blue. And that's our fourth step. Connect point P through the intersection of those two arcs. And that's in dark blue. Make sure that your dark blue line that you see here on the right-hand side, make sure it extends for at least an inch on either side of point P because of what's going to happen in our next step. So again, step one, we had the line in red. Step two, we had the arc from point P. Step three, we had the arc marks that we're crossing from each of the intersection points. Step four, we connected point P through the intersecting orange arcs. And now in step five, what we're going to do is we're going to place our compass point on point P again. And I'm going to draw actually a circle around point P. So it looks something like this. You can just make arc marks on the blue line if you want to, but I like the circle. It's easier to see. So that is step five. Then, in step six, from those new intersecting places that we see where the circle's hitting the blue line, the pink circle's hitting the blue line, we're going to leave our compass stretched out and make two more arc marks. So we have Step 1 was the line. Step 2 was from the point P compass, we made an arc past the line. Step 3, we had taken the places where the arc intersected the line and made arcs out in space. Step 4 was that we connected point P through the intersection of those two orange arcs. And then step 5, we put our compass point on P and we made that circle or two arc marks. Step 6 is crucial. It is where we take those intersection places of the circle in pink and the blue line. Our compass is already stretched out. We place our compass point on one of those intersection places on the pink circle and the blue line, make an arc out in space in purple, and then we do the same from the other intersection place on the circle and the blue line, make another arc. Which leads us to our final step. We are going to connect point P and the arc marks out in space, and when we connect those in step 7, what we will have generated is a line in brown that is parallel to the original line in red. So final picture, just to go through this process one last time. We originally had our line and our point P. From point P, we had taken our compass point, put it there, stretched out our compass past the red line, made an arc out in space. Then, so that was step 1 in red, step 2 in light blue. Step 3 was in orange. We had taken the intersections of the light blue arc and the red line, made arc marks in space from each of the two intersection places. Step 4 was we had connected point P through the intersection of those two orange arcs. Step 5 is we had placed our compass on point P, made a circle around it. Step 6 was from where the circle in pink intersected the dark blue line, we placed our compass point and made an arc out in space. I like to make mine to the right, from each of those two intersections of the pink circle and blue line. And then last, and most importantly, of course, because it's our last step, is we connected point P to the arc marks, and now the brown and the red lines are parallel. Again, leave all of your arc marks on your quizzes, tests, and homework.